Hello, 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 and greetings. Welcome to my cabin. The captain's cabin, that is. I've been on a grand adventure all through time and space, on my space pirating adventure. I'm not a bad pirate. I'm a good pirate. I don't steal from anyone other than the ones who've already stolen from us. So I'm a take-a-backer, not a stealer. Well, we've got lots to talk about, and never the doubt, you'll be wondering where I got my space captaining outfit. So I'll take a look at it for you. What do you think? I had to blend in because my next stop on my space quantum jumping pirate captaining adventures is to a time when Buck, the wonderful Buck, the Baroque period that is, we're going to go meet him. Yes, you heard me correct, ladies and gents. We are going to go in our quantum space jumping trip all the way back to the Baroque period when Bach was at the epicenter of his career. Little did most people know nowadays, in the present time I'll be presenting these space jumping videos, I will tell you that most people don't even know that Bach was unappreciated in his day, and was buried in a pauper's grave. But in reality, he has brought us some of the most intellectually advanced music ever created. We'll talk more about Bach when we see him. Before we go on our space jumping adventures, I'd like to read for you a little bit of my book. It's a book that's been in my family for generations. Now, I'll tell you, it's a book published many, many, many moons ago. Can you see it? Can you see it? Shh. Okay, my darlings, here we go. I don't really know what we should read first, so I'll just open it to a random section. Energy. Shall we have some light? Energy. The longer we live, the more we are certain the great difference between men, between the feeble and the powerful, the great and the insignificant, is energy. Inconceivable, but it's true. Invincible determination, a purpose once fixed, and then death or victory. That quality will do anything that can be done in this world, and no talents, no circumstances, no opportunities will make a two-legged creature a man without it. Never suffer your energies to stagnate. There is no genius of life like the genius of energy and industry. All the traditions current among very young men that certain great characteristics have wrought their greatness by an inspiration, as it were, grows out of a sad mistake. There are no rivals so formidable as those earnest, determined minds who reckon the value of every hour, and which achieve eminence by persistent application. The difference between one boy and another consists not so much in talent as in energy. Provided the dunce has persistency and application, he will inevitably head the cleverer fellow without these qualities. Slow but sure wins the race. It is perseverance that explains how the position of boys at school is often reversed in real life. And it is curious to note how some who were then so clever have since become so commonplace, while others, dull boys of whom nothing was expected, slow in their faculties but sure in their pace, have assumed the position of leaders of men. we recollect that when a boy we stood in the same class with one of the greatest dunces. Our teacher, after another, had tried his skill upon him and failed. Corporeal punishment, the fool's cap, coaxing, and earnest entry provided alike fruitless. Sometimes the experiment was tried of putting him at the top of his class, and it was curious to note the rapidity in which he gravitated to the inevitable bottom, like a lump of lead passing through quicksilver. The youth was given up by many teachers as an incorrigible dunce, one of them pronouncing him to be a stupendous booby. Yet, slow though he was, this dunce had a dull energy and a sort of beefy tenacity of purpose, which grew with his muscles and his manhood. And, strange to say, when he at length came to take part in the practical business of life, he was found heading most of his school companions, and eventually left the greater number of them far behind. A tortoise in the right road will beat a racer in the wrong. It matters not, though a youth be slow, if he be but diligent. Quickness of parts may even prove a defect, inasmuch as the boy who learns readily will often forget quite as readily, and also because he finds no need of cultivating that quality of application and perseverance which the slower youth is compelled to exercise, and which proves so valuable an element in the formation of every character. The highest culture is not attained from teachers when at school or college, so much as by our own diligent self-education when we have become men. Parents need not be in too great a haste to see their children's talents forced into bloom. Let them watch and wait patiently, letting good example and quiet training do their work, and leave the rest to Providence. Let them see to it that the youth is provided, by free exercise of his bodily powers, with a full stock of physical health. Set him fairly on the road of self-culture. Carefully train his habits of application and perseverance as he grows older. If the right stuff be in him, he will be enabled vigorously and effectively to cultivate himself. He who has heart has everything, and he doth not burn doth the inflame. It is astonishing how much may be accomplished in self-culture by the energetic and the persevering, who are careful to avail themselves of opportunities, and use up the fragments of spare time which the idle permit to run to waste. In studies such as in business, energy is the great thing. We must not only strike the iron while it is hot, but strike it until it is made hot. Give us not men like weathercocks, that change with every wind, but men like mountains, who change the wind themselves. There is always room for a man of force, and he makes room for many. You cannot dream yourself into character. You must hammer and forge yourself into one. Therefore don't live in hopes. With your arms folded, fortune smiles on those who rolls up their sleeves and puts their shoulders to the wheel. I can't, it's impossible, said a foiled lieutenant to Alexander. Begone, shouted the conquering Macedonian in reply. There is nothing impossible to him who will try. And to make good his words, the haughty warrior, not yet come to weep that there were no more words to subdue, charged with a phallic, rock-crested fortress that had been defied his timid stallion, and the foe were swept down as with the bosom of destruction. A man's character is seen in small matters, and from even so slight a test as the mode in which a man wields a hammer, his energy may in some measure be inferred. Thus, An eminent Frenchman hit off in a single phrase the characteristic quality of the inhabitants of a particular district, in which a friend of his proposed to buy land and settle. Beware, he said, of making a purchase there. I know the men of that department, the pupils who come from it to our veterinarian schools at Paris, do not strike hard at the anvil. They want energy, but they will not give it, and you will not get a satisfactory return on any capital you invest there. A fine and just apprehension of character, indicating the
words that we don't use in modern English.